All right, welcome back to the Podracer podcast. This is kind of a more somber episode. This is a bonus episode, so we're not posting on the regular Friday. Today is September 10th, and yesterday, September 9th, we got some really bad news. James Earl Jones has passed away.
We have lost Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader, Mufasa, whatever else you know him from. We unfortunately lost him. 93 years old. I mean, he lived a good life, but we just kind of wanted to come on here and talk about him because Darth Vader's, I know, a huge character for me, a huge character for you. It's really sad.
Yeah, very sad.
How you feeling?
So when I heard the news, you were actually the one that had to call me to break the news to me, and I mean, you remember it. I had my phone down and I was just in a state of shock because, you know, I know that James Earl Jones is getting old. We all know that. Old. Death is very undefeated, so it's kind of it's a little too sudden, I know, but I'm trying to make this make sense.
Definitely caught me off guard.
Yeah, exactly. I was in a full shock of things, because there was never any news that if he was in bad health or anything like that. And usually when that happens with a celebrity, it's kind of out a week or two before they actually pass. And it really just flashed me back to when last year when Carl Weathers passed away. He played Apollo Creed. He also played High Magistrate Karga in The Mandalorian. I was just taken back. I'm like, this dude that was just a guy, but so impactful.
Yeah.
In our childhood and our growing up. And, I felt like the more we got to experience James Earl Jones doing more projects, the more we got to appreciate him. Even though that I know that he was on Broadway and he was acting way before we were even born. With his dad and everything. So it's, I don't know, man, it's very sudden. It's very tragic. It's a big loss for anyone that
It's a big loss.
Cares about Star Wars, because not only was Vader the biggest character in all of cinema, but obviously the most important character in all of Star Wars. And he was just a voice for it. Sure. He was never in the suit. I get that. But to become recognizable for just your voice, that.
Yeah, iconic voice.
And that will live on for generations to come. Because sure. I know that Lion King is a very important movie to you. And that's Mufasa right there. That is a guiding light to Simba and to a lot of us. And I feel in that regard, it was just even more sad, because when you lose an anchor in the world of your childhood nostalgia, it sucks. It sucks a lot. And it kind of just, it affects your mood more than you think it's going to, because we've never met this person. We've never had a conversation with him. He never knew that I existed, but we did. And we got to live through that. And I feel that's the most important thing that we can kind of take out of it.
Well, it's exactly like you said. He's just impactful to our lives. And the way the news was broke to me, actually, was I was at the gym. I was on the treadmill. And I was finishing up that workout, and I was going to go move on to the next. I had 10 more minutes on the treadmill. And I usually watch TV when I'm on a treadmill, on my phone.
iPad kid,
and for whatever reason, for whatever reason, I just happened to look up at one of the TVs on the wall, and I see James Earl Jones, and I'm like, oh, what's that? I'm thinking oh, he's coming back to that Mufasa live action to appear, something fun. And then I see the news bar at the bottom, and it says that he passed away, and I was like, what the heck? I had to immediately just cut my treadmill. I walked to my car. I opened up Google, and all the articles saying that he had passed away was like from 11 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. I just started sobbing in my car because like, holy shit, Darth Vader just died. Mufasa just died. I only know him from Star Wars Lion King and The Sandlot. Obviously, Darth Vader is one of my favorite characters of all time. Him and Anakin, I kind of, compare them as the same thing. Hayden Christensen is Anakin to me. James Earl Jones is Darth Vader. I was looking through all of his, filmography. He's got a lot of stuff he was in.
Oh, yeah.
But the amount of Star Wars projects he came back for as Darth Vader is insane. I mean, you have all 3 originals, so New Hope, Empire, Return. You got Revenge of the Sith for the very end of that. He actually came back in Star Tours as well. He was the voice of Vader for Star Tours.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Wow. He voiced 5 episodes in Rebels as Vader. You got Rogue One. He was in Rise of Skywalker, his voice. And then 4 episodes for Kenobi. And I thought that was amazing. It just shows the dedication. And, he had to have known how much he meant. Just hearing Vader's voice is, I still, to this day, remember when we, see Vader for the first time in Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. And I was waiting for him to talk. And I was like, is it going to be him? And it was him. And then I remember in the, end cards how they do the all black with the blue writing for the actor's name, James Earl Jones. I remember, I have that memory, just right there in my brain. It's really sad that, he's not going to be able to ever be Vader again. I hope they never bring Vader back in anything now, because I don't want it to be anybody else's voice. And I know they got AI and all that crap, but, how good could that actually be, Yeah, and I've actually been thinking a lot, too, about how this brought you back to, what was the actor you said, Apollo Creed?
Yeah, Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers, yeah. It brought me back to when Carrie Fisher passed away. Yeah. I mean, it's the same exact feeling I had when Carrie Fisher passed away, and I remember that vividly, and I think this will stick with me for a while, too. It's just really sad. I mean, he's such an amazing voice. From what I've read about him, he's such just a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big loss.
I saw a thing this morning where it was Giancarlo Esposito who plays, Gus from Breaking Bad, Moff Gideon, and Mandalorian.
Yep.
And a whole bunch of other things. He was talking about his relationship to James Earl Jones, and it was just very, very incredibly put. The fact that not only he had a really good relationship with James Earl Jones, but also his father, and he said it was nothing but loving and caring and getting to be. He said that James Earl Jones was like a shepherd to him with his career, because they did a play on Broadway, and he really got to learn and hone his craft. And apparently James Earl Jones is the type of guy that will have a stack of scripts and then a stack of newspapers and then just be going back and forth. And it just showed how good he was and how much care he had into it. So, for any time a performer on that type of level and that type of caliber kind of goes out, it leaves just a very big hole in a lot of people's lives, hearts, and I think it's just one of those where he can never be replaced. He will not be replaced, but it's just unfortunate. It's just a very big, tragic loss, and I'm very, very, very glad that I was able to grow up watching a whole bunch of him. One of my favorite baseball movies of all time, called Field of Dreams. He was in it, and
Field of Dreams, yeah.
He was incredible in that. And of course, in Sandlot, the 3 minutes of screen time he had.
I forgot he was in Field of Dreams.
Yep. Even him as the main bad guy in Conan, with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 80s. Like, completely random. But Homeboy needed a check, and he did it. And he apparently has approached almost every project with nothing but the biggest smile on his face. And that's a good way to be remembered by.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he just seems like a stand-up dude. Like, I'm just, like, I feel like thinking about it, all I can think about is, like, I just hear some of his most iconic lines in my head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole confessing that Vader is Luke's father thing. I think of, like, one of his first lines in A New Hope, "You are part of the Rebel Alliance.
And a traitor.
Like,
Take her away.
Yeah, I just hear that in my head. I hear, you know, or I hear Mufasa's, like, lines to Scar, like, "Don't turn your back on me, Scar." Like, I can perfectly hear him in my head. He's just, like, such an iconic voice, and, like, being those two huge iconic characters, like, I feel like all the graphics I'm seeing on Instagram and Twitter are of, like, Vader and a lion, like, looking over at, like, a gravestone, which is kind of sad and morbid, but yeah, it's just, like, I know he's got an entire, like, list of filmography that he's done and stuff, but those are two big ones, I think, and it's really cool that, like, people are just gonna remember him for that. And yeah, Lion King is a big part of my childhood, a big part of me. Like, I love that movie with all my heart. I almost watched it today at work, but I thought maybe I shouldn't, because I might, you know, with how I am, probably cry at work. So I'm surprised I'm not crying now, but, you know.
It's it kind of just shows, like, how much we cared about a dude for his performances. I know that there's tons of actors, they come and go all the time, but to just leave an impact the way he did, it's unprecedented to, like, pretty much anything else. Like, how do you top Darth Vader? How do you top a performance like that? You don't.
I mean, literally one of the greatest characters in cinema. Like, there's not a person that you could look to and say the words Darth Vader and they don't have an image, or, you know, they don't know what he sounds like. Like, there's probably a handful of people in this world who don't know, and that's because they've been living under a rock for 40 years.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Huge loss. Super devastated. This is a really short episode, literally just to kind of talk about our love for him and remember him.
We didn't want our newest episode to be nothing but sappiness, so we thought it would be...
So this is like a bonus emergency pod type of deal.
It's like, hey, let's, you know, cry now so then we can smile later when we actually film our actual podcast and get on with that. We don't want it to be all sad and droopy and have to bring it back to try to go on to the next thing. So, you know, doing this and getting to talk about him, it's better. And it...
Yeah, you know, James Earl Jones, he deserves his own moment too, so...
He deserves it all.
Yeah. Bonus episode for him. Love him. You know, all the love to his family and, you know, people who actually knew him, who are grieving. It's a very big loss. We're devastated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm going to remember him well, and I'm going to enjoy hearing him anytime I watch a piece of Star Wars with Vader in it, or anytime I watch Lion King. Yeah. He's the space dad. And I'm going to miss him.
Space dad. I don't know if you saw Mark Hamill's post on Instagram.
Rip dad.
Oh.
Just
that sucks, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know how sad I am. I just can't even imagine how sad the people who actually knew him, worked with him, feel. But yeah, big loss.
I'll can't recommend it enough. What Giancarlo Esposito said. He was like doing like a press carpet tour, whatever you want to call it, and
I mean, this had to be recently, right?
Yeah, it was posted today as we're filming this, but I think it was like the interview happened probably the day of, and yeah, he just put it so well, like everything that like he meant to him, and like kind of how he really shaped his entire career, and like
That's super cool.
To get that kind of rub, like that's insane. And now Giancarlo Esposito is like in the same boat where he's very recognizable, like with his voice or just with his like personality. So it's, I recommend anyone listening, watching to go hear what Esposito had to say about James Earl Jones. It was very beautiful. It was very well done. And like, it's only like a minute, 2 minutes, but like it speaks wonders for the type of person that he really was.
Yeah, no, we'll put that link in the description of the YouTube video. Sorry, audio listeners. Yeah, no, send me that. I need to watch that too.
Please do. It's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, so R.I.P. to the GOAT, the icon, the legend, Darth Vader, Mufasa, and every other character. James Earl Jones will be remembered by us on this podcast and by many, many around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I love you. Stay healthy. And we'll see you guys Friday.
Bye, guys.